Beat Ohio State again. Let's put the women and children to bed and go hunting for dinner, everybody. Michigan, Ohio State, second year in a row, 2 undefeated, 11-0 teams. I am pumped up. We got 5 days to the game, and frankly, this political slogan that we launched in 2020 might be responsible for Michigan's success, even more than Connor Stallions and anything going on right there. It's BOSA. Beat Ohio State again. So let's get it going. 3 in a row Michigan's going for, and haven't lost to them in 4 seasons. Should they, when they get the job done, coming up on Saturday. So comment BOSA below if you're with me, if you've been along for the ride. Beat Ohio State again. And if you haven't, and you're a Michigan football fan, you got to subscribe to the channel. We're going to have wall-to-wall content all week long. Do a post-game show on Saturday, all leading to next week's Big Ten Championship game, and then Michigan's run to Houston or bust. If you're a Michigan football fan, subscribe now. If you don't like what you see, unsubscribe after the season. But for now, we've been getting inundated with all these Ohio State fans typing their trash talk, etc. We need more Michigan football support than ever. Hit that subscribe button. We are going to talk about Saturday's game a little bit and look forward to Michigan, Ohio State coming up this Saturday. The game. It's the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports. Let's get it going right now. Overreaction Monday. Going to take a look back at everything we've learned over really around the last 48 hours or so since Michigan, Maryland, the Fox Big Noon kickoff that I was at, by the way, total JV atmosphere. I don't think Michigan should even allow them in the Big Ten anymore after just the kind of JV environment that they bring forward. But nevertheless, we'll talk all about that in a second, but did want to let you know that I am wearing performance-driven clothing by Rhone, RHONE.com/chatsports. Gets you 20% off. Go check out Rhone. I absolutely love the commuter collection from Rhone. Let's take a look back to Saturday. Michigan wins the game 31-24. They get a safety in the final minutes and then go up 7, run the clock out from there. Overall, a kind of scrappy, not scrappy, maybe closer than expected game against a maybe scrappy Maryland team. But Michigan holds on and gets the win. Closer game than expected, leading into Ohio State, just like last year against Illinois. My number one overreaction, sloppy and distracted. I think it's a good just explanation of what we saw on the field on Saturday. Their offense looked sloppy. The defense looked good at times, but there were still some areas of sloppy and allowed Maryland to kind of do the Philadelphia Eagles brotherly shove, tush push for a couple touchdowns. Not sure that you can really do much about that, but this was not the dominant team and the just kind of machine that we saw the first 10 weeks of the year with Jim Harbaugh being out and Michigan going and agreeing to the Big Ten 3-game suspension on Thursday. I think there was just a lot of things. Firing Chris Partridge on Friday that this team kind of had to overcome, had to look at. The vibe on the sideline in the stadium, okay? The vibe and the overall team, when you look down the field, I've been to Michigan games in the past, big ones, small ones, etc. You know sometimes when this team is focused and they know what they're doing, they're ready to go, and it's all football from the top down. I did not get the feeling of that in the stadium on Saturday. But one thing I did want to give some shout-outs to is Michigan's punter, all right? Tommy friggin' Doman, the punter that put 2 inside the 10-yard line, maybe not in a more important play in the game to secure this Michigan win, up 5, late in the game, about 4 minutes and 30 seconds left or so, kicks the punt, and it just hits the ground, stops right there at the 1-yard line. Michigan downs it. A couple plays later, they get the intentional grounding inside the end zone on Talia Tagovailoa, and Michigan gets up by 7 points, able to run down the clock from there. So Tommy friggin' Doman, not the player of the game, but certainly one of the biggest impact plays of that game. I'll ask you guys this question. Give me your one overreaction from Saturday's win over Maryland. I think the vibe seems to have changed, right? Ohio State fans coming out this weekend super confident. Michigan fans kind of down in the dumps, at least on social media, think that, oh man, we can't win without Harbaugh. We can't do this and that. Give me your one overreaction from Saturday's win. Let me know how you guys are feeling with 5 days left to go. Number 2 is JJ is clearly injured, all right? There has been rumors of an ankle injury for the last several weeks, and coming out of the Penn State week game 2 weeks ago, a knee injury that as things got closer and closer to game time, Thursday, Friday, seemed like it would be more impactful than we originally thought. You clearly saw it on Saturday. We'll talk more about McCarthy here in a second, but did want to tell you about our presenting sponsor, and that is Rhone. Thank you so much to Rhone for giving me these amazing performance-driven clothing that I'm wearing here on the Michigan Football Report. I'm sure many of you are just like me. You've got responsibilities, social life, heck, you even like to hit the golf course sometimes on company time. Well, I've got the solution to the hassle of changing clothes between your daily activities. It is the Commuter Collection from Rhone, athletic dress shirts and pants, all kinds of apparel. Men's closets were due for a radical reinvention, and Rhone has stepped up to the challenge. Like I said, I'm wearing the Commuter Collection right now. With Rhone, you've got yourself the most comfortable, breathable, and flexible set of products known to man, and here's why. You never have to worry about what you wear when you've got the Rhone Commuter Collection. It's got wrinkle release technology. Wrinkles just disappear as you stretch and wear the products. It's that easy. I could be wearing a different shirt, put this bad boy on, it could be hanging on the hanger. I don't have to worry about ironing it, taking it to the dry cleaners. And look at this, super comfortable, stretch fabric. The pants are awesome. I can just slap these bad boys on. Instant wrinkle release technology. Make sure you guys are looking and feeling as good as I am with the Rhone Commuter Collection. Go get 20% off your order. Rhone.com/chatsports. Use promo code chatsports. That's RHONE.com/chatsports. Get going with Rhone. Makes a great gift for the holiday season, either giving or receiving. Hey, get me some Rhone. Use promo code chatsports. RHONE.com/chatsports. It's time to find your corner offers comfort. Keep things rolling. JJ McCarthy clearly injured. All right. Michigan attempted no runs with McCarthy on Saturday. Ended up with 2 carries for -7 yards. One, I think, was the kneel down. The other one was the sack that he took in this game. And it was probably his worst performance, maybe as a Michigan football player. 12 of 23. And I was sitting next to my friend, who ironically is an Ohio State fan, the pass before McCarthy threw the interception right before halftime. All right. The play before it should have maybe been an interception. And I said to him, I'm like, I always get nervous when JJ throws in the red zone from the pocket because, honestly, outside the TCU game last year in the fourth quarter, when has he excelled in the pocket throwing the ball in the red zone? I'm like, I just hope they don't throw a pick right here. Boom, literally 2 seconds later, steps back, doesn't read the linebacker, who just drops in the coverage, intercepts it right at the goal line. JJ McCarthy clearly injured. Roman Wilson also injured. Now, McCarthy played the entire game. Michael Barrett, who we'll talk about here in a few seconds, got injured in this game, came back later on. But Roman Wilson took a shot, right? Helmet-to-helmet hit. Initially was called targeting. The player was getting kicked out of the game. They reversed that, but Roman did not come back to the game. Ultimately, was in street clothes around the second or third quarter from what I saw. Expected to play this Saturday. No reports yet of any concussion or anything lingering on from that one, but I think the combination of McCarthy being hobbled, it was a windy as hell day. It was uncomfortably cold because how windy this game was, with the offensive line being shooken up and McCarthy being hobbled, Roman Wilson being out, just resulted in a disastrous offensive performance in a lot of ways from this Michigan football team. Focus a little bit on Ohio State here. This Buckeyes team is maybe unexpectedly, right, with how mediocre they've looked on offense for a lot of the year. They are now number 2 in pretty much all the polls, right? AP poll, College Football Playoff, and the coaches poll. 11-0, 8-0 inside the Big Ten, just like Michigan. Michigan's higher ranked in scoring offense and scoring defense, with the Buckeyes being number 2 right behind Michigan in scoring defense, but number 24 in scoring offense. Michigan's still a favorite, 3.5-point favorite, which at the college level, that's basically kind of home field advantage. You would expect this to be a pick 'em or a 1-point spread on either side of the ball if this was ever played in a neutral field like it could be next year. Big Ten championship game, back-to-back weeks, which I actually don't like. So let's get our first score predictions out of the way. Michigan, Ohio State, beat Ohio State again. Brett, you got score prediction? You got score prediction yet? I'm thinking mine. All right, I've got my score prediction for you guys. I like the 6-touchdown vibe that Michigan's put out last couple of weeks. I think they've got some plays. I think Jim Harbaugh has had these last 2 weeks. He's just cooking up stuff in the kitchen. He's got something for Ohio State. It's all going to be on Sherrone Moore and, of course, the entire Michigan coaching staff to execute it. I like the 6 touchdowns for Michigan. I'm going 42-24. Michigan win. This one's absolutely no question who the better team is going to be coming out of this game. 42-24. Give me your score predictions down in the comment. Offensive line has been, I think, the biggest underperforming unit on this entire team all season long. I mean, you didn't even settle on your starting offensive line until the 4th game. LaDarius Henderson, injured, didn't play. Now, talk today from Jim Harbaugh's press conference and others is that they do expect him to play coming up against Ohio State. Kept him out as precautionary reason. But then his backup, right? Myles Hinton gets hurt in the third quarter. He has to leave the game. They switched Carson Barnhart over to right tackle. Barnhart has struggled for weeks, right? He got owned at Penn State. And then this week against Maryland, he has to go to right tackle, switch over to left. Didn't really look good. Offense in general, with the injuries to JJ, Roman Wilson being out, this offensive line shakeup, I just felt like it was an absolute shambles in this game. 31 points, though. And there was a time in the game right before halftime, right? Michigan could have gone up with a 3-touchdown lead into half had JJ not thrown that interception. But you're only getting 141 yards passing in admittedly a windy as heck environment. But the running game itself did not get going. Blake Corum did not break 100 yards again. Donovan Edwards ran okay, but with limited amount of carries, not much he's going to do. Both those guys getting under 4 yards per carry for another week for this team. So LaDarius Henderson sat out the game. They're expecting him to be in the lineup, expecting him to start coming up on Saturday, and frankly, Michigan needs him. If LaDarius Henderson is not going to play, right, if Michigan's down a starting offensive lineman, I know Trente Jones, I know Myles Hinton have played well from time to time, but I just don't trust those guys as of right now against what I think is one of the top 4 or 5 defensive lines in all of college football, and that is the D-line of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Some good news in the offense, though, right? Michigan went for it 4 times on 4th down in this game. One of them, to kind of ice the game towards the end on that last drive. And outside of that, 3 completions, 2 tight ends on 4th down. I think it was Colson Lovin with 2, and then A.J. Barner with 1. I think it showed McCarthy, even injured, still has it, and that Sherrone Moore is kind of ready to roll the dice a little bit and not just play as conservative as we saw in the second half when they ran the ball every single play a couple weeks ago against Penn State. Next overreaction, one of the greatest of all time, one of the GOATs of Michigan football history, and that is Mike Sainristil. And I came to this conclusion just by going back. I was just kind of gearing up all my social media videos in the last couple of years, ready to stick it in the face of Ohio State fans, Big Ten fans, and I was like, oh, wow, JJ McCarthy. Do you remember when he handed the ball off to Blake Corum in the Big Ten championship game a couple of years ago? Was a true freshman. I think it was Michigan's first touchdown. And McCarthy came around the outside, and he was streaking down the field faster than Corum, was in there blocking. You know who the other blocker was that actually sprung Corum for the touchdown? Michigan wide receiver Mike Sainristil, right? And now the last 2 years has been potentially Michigan's best player on defense. That's just how versatile a player he was. He was a starting wide receiver 2 seasons ago for a Big Ten championship team. Now he is a starting nickel corner, and frankly, I think earning himself a spot all Big Ten first team. I think he's going to get drafted, maybe potentially even an All-American. 2 interceptions against Maryland on Saturday. And one of them, frankly, I saw the replay on the in-stadium cam. I don't know how they called him down there. He got hit. He got tackled. His butt and his back were on the defender from Maryland, or the offender that was trying to tackle him after that pick. He put his hand down, stood up, and went for a touchdown. But they said that he was down, which I always thought you had to have a knee or an elbow or a butt or a helmet touch. I didn't see any of those touch. Celebrate Mike Sainristil, 2 interceptions versus Maryland, and leading Michigan in interceptions in what is his 5th year into the program. How about Michigan getting their 1,000th win? Cool environment to be into. There's quite a few crazy hooligans that rush the field at Maryland to celebrate with this Michigan football program. Nice relief to get it, and it doesn't come in a year when you're like 9-2 at this point or something like that, or potentially even worse with the Rich Rod or Hoke year, etc. The fact they fought through adversity, 4 straight games, continued to get those wins, got this 1,000th victory as a top 5 program in the country, undefeated, leading into Ohio State, makes it just a little bit more special. So clearly Michigan is the best football team ever at any level, more wins than any college football team ever, any NFL team ever, and hell, even any high school football team ever. So comment 1,000. Show some love to what is an amazing accomplishment just on the, greatness over 140 seasons, but also the consistency of what is the Michigan football program. Michael Barrett left the game with an injury, came back. Right, there's this talk of a swollen AC joint, but he should be able to play on Saturday per Sherrone Moore today. Now is the winningest player in Michigan football history. 57 wins he has been a part of as a player. Big-time number, right? 6-year player. Been playing for his 5th full season. Shout out to Michael Barrett. Had a big play in this one, too, right? He got the sack on Tulia Tagovailoa, knocked the ball out on Maryland's second possession. Derek Moore picks it up, goes into the end zone. Impact player for multiple years, multiple starter on defense, and making plays just as recently as this past game. In a game he left injured, had to come back. We expect great things out of Mike Barrett coming up Saturday against Ohio State. Speaking of Ohio State, it's the slogan that changed the course of college football forever. beat Ohio State again. We launched it after some disappointing losses in the midterms in 2018, right? Going to Columbus, lose 62-39. Then you lose the local elections in 2019 in Ann Arbor. You get beat by Justin Fields in Ohio State. Ryan Day gets a win, which doesn't look that great looking back because he's done nothing since. And then beat Ohio State again. BOSA, a political slogan in a presidential year. No game played because of health and safety and no other reasons. But since then, this slogan has gone on to spark one of the great turnarounds in the history of college football, both from a team perspective and a rivalry perspective. Beat Ohio State again. We're going to be focused on it every single show going forward. Is just breaking down the Buckeyes, how Michigan can get this win. So make sure you're commenting every single time on our videos. Beat Ohio State again. We'll be live tomorrow. College football playoff top 25 rankings. Where's Michigan going to be? 3 again? 2? Maybe move up over Ohio State? Maybe. Doubtful. Or will a team like Washington, who got themselves another nice win, against, was it Oregon State? Oregon State, top 15 team. Tough road environment. They got that win. Might Michigan drop? I doubt it, but we will see. Join us. We'll have a ton on the game, and we will have the top 25 rankings revealed live here on YouTube, youtube.com/MichiganTV. Till I see you then, go Blue.